thank you, Mohamed Youssef. Thank you for joining. I know you have been waiting for this session to happen, and we are here. So thank you for joining the session. How are you today?
Thank you, Dharam. I want to thank you to give me opportunity to do this session and try to give some from our experience to our colleagues to learn from our long journey in engineering, as well as I'd like to thank you also since you support us in this journey of PgMP, and recently we got portfolio management by your guidance and support. It was a short time and you train us in a professional way. That's it. Welcome to everyone attending also in our session. We try to give them the maximum output as we can.
Great, definitely.
Small brief about myself. I am Mohamed Youssef, Operation Manager, 20 years experience in construction in GCC, starting in Dubai, now in Qatar, and I'm planning to go to Saudi Arabia. Different field in construction, building, infrastructure, electromechanical work. I am certified PMP, risk management, program management, portfolio management, and I'm doing master in business administration. That's it.
But thank you, Mohamed, for introducing yourself, and it was a pleasure working with you on your PfMP journey. And you completed your PfMP recently in December. I think that was 13th of December 2023.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was, like, of course, exciting moment. You have been waiting. You have been studying hard for your PfMP, and you completed your PfMP with flying colors.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Your guidance and coaching is very important. To get a mentor, it's a mandatory to such certificate. It's very difficult to do self-study. So I'm advising everyone who want to either go for risk or program or portfolio to have a mentor. It could be anyone, but you are as one of the best in the world. Some people of you in the world is there also, but it is a mandatory to have a mentor to guide you and give you the track how to do self-study to pass this difficult certificate and valuable certificate as well.
Yeah, so definitely, having a trust in the process in me was very important. So I'm very happy to say, along with you, I'm fortunate to have supported 133 PfMPs so far. So 133 PfMPs and 484 PgMPs. So I'm very proud for your success and all the successes. And as you mentioned, these are difficult exams, and when you complete your journey, you feel happy, and I feel more happy because more you got the result, and I'm able to contribute to your success. Let's talk about your journey of PfMP. Take only a few minutes and talk about that.
Actually, journey starting from your interest, your goal. You have something you want to do. You have to do better achievement in your career. From here you will start. You have some interest. You will search from the world so that I get you, because I have a strong interest to pass this professional certificate. So I start looking for mentor. So I get you, and here we can say we have two bigger steps, starting from prepare the application and passing the exam. Prepare the application, it is not an easy job. They have like 5 questions, and you have to answer them from your experience in a professional way. So here also you need someone to guide and mentor you and coaching you how to answer the question in proper way. Why I say mentor? You can do yourself, but you can. 80% possibility you will fail if you don't have someone to review your application before your submission. So preparing the application take 3 to 4 months, sometime more if you get panel audit. My advice: prepare application in a professional way. Let someone coaching you to prepare it in a proper way to pass in a fast time. Secondly, you have the second step, you have to prepare for exam. Exam, it's a big story. Exam, I don't want to say to exam until you prepare yourself to be a portfolio manager. You prepare yourself to be in this level of professionalism. So keep the exam away. Now you have to understand the material. Material here, when we say we have standard book, and we have your book challenges and the way of understanding. And if you have a mentor like Dharam or someone, he can give you the professional videos, you can give you explanation, so you will understand each statement, each expression. Very important to understand the portfolio here. If you go to the book, it's maybe it's a 20 page or 50 pages, but it's have deeply understanding. If you read it 10 times, I'm telling you, you will not get the deeply the meaning of the wording, of the expression, of the process, until someone take your hand from the level you are and take you up. So very important to have a mentor in this journey to take you from where you are, which background also, because portfolio it's capable, or even project management, it's applicable for all sector in our life. It can be for project, can be for accounting, it can be for someone working in education, because when you say a project or portfolio, it is not meaning only engineering. It can be for every sector in our life, industrial, agriculture, in education. So whatever your background, you need someone to take you from this background to reach the standard portfolio level. When you reach this level, it's easy to pass the exam. But first of all, you have to, your mindset, someone should adjust your mindset. I can say it in a simple way.
Yeah.
This is the two biggest steps you have to do it. If you go for before the exam, there's some exercise you have to go through, question, a lot of question bank in internet, and even Jeremy have it. But I prefer, as you said to me, Dharam, before, Ginger book. Ginger book, it's a methodology, as you said, and I'm using your word. It is increase your muscles. It's not equal to the exam. It's far away from the exam. Exam question 2-3 lines, but Ginger question can be 10 to 15 lines. So it's a story question, but it is open your mind. Once you open your mind, when you see the tricky questioning, which is a lot in the exam, it will be easy for you, easy to take the right answer. So Ginger here, it is a methodology, even in project management, in program management, in portfolio management, all of them, the 3 books, it's away from the exam, but it gives you ability and the competencies and the skills to pass the exam easily. So I recommended Ginger book, one of the mentor to train you and get the knowledge in a proper way. Otherwise, if you make yourself study, maybe you have wrong concept, which is going to lead to wrong answer in the exam. So that the mentor here, it is a mandatory. You have to get the book, ECO, train yourself for the exam, for question banks, and mentor to adjust your mindset. This is the 2 major steps when you prepare to pass a portfolio.
Great. Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you for the kind words. Yeah, so this is a not easy journey, but once you have prepared, that journey seems very easy. One of the things I like to highlight, people preparing for PfMP, the material you mentioned, the standard for portfolio management, 3rd edition. Currently, as we talk in January 2024, the book you have to refer for the PfMP exam is 3rd edition of the standard for portfolio management. Yes. The problem is PMI already have the 4th edition, and it is available since 2018. They have not changed the exam since then. I mean, they have never changed the exam for PfMP, which is kind of not a good thing, because you go on the website and download the latest version, and guess what? When you go to the exam, you feel, the things are different. So make sure you pick the 3rd edition, not the 4th edition. As of now, unless their book change, you just keep an eye on the information on LinkedIn or PMI's website. They may change it in next 6 months, 1 year, but as of now, the book you have to refer is the 3rd edition of standard. Okay, just a question already here we have. If you were to rate complexity of different section of PgMP or PfMP content, were there any areas that you felt were more complex to understand and prepare than other sections?
You see, if I say governance, little bit, it is hard to understand governance section. Maybe need some more consideration. Other than all by deeply study, it is okay. But I feel governance, especially in portfolio, it's it's more about wording. So it's little hard to get it from first time.
Yeah. And yeah, so governance is generally seen as not very exciting sections in PgMP and PfMP, both areas. But if you understood that governance is all about setting the right practices within your programming portfolio, you will be fine, because you need to have protocols, you need procedures, templates, roles and responsibility defined, and escalation paths are defined. And once you understood this, the governance section becomes very, very easy. So yes, my job is to make sure the concept, the difficult concept or boring concept, make them interesting, and when you read and learn, become easier for you to go through the journey. So Mohammed, how can you demonstrate your value and contribution to an organization through project tracking?
After this question, it is a little bit need a lot of talking. Human value, or whatever value we have, skills. Why organization hiring us? Coaching can be from different way. When you are going to search a job or organization, why it's hire Dharam or Mohammed or Sheila or Vladimir or Shahbaz? Why they select those people? Because you have something organization needs. This is the value you're going to add to the organization. Number one. Number two, organization searching for certain skills to be filled, or they have gap in a place, they need someone to fill it. This is your value. And here we insist that we should have a value. All the human in the world, we have certain competencies, all we have the same. But skills which you are train yourself, you get courses, you get international certificate, this is making your value. So organization looking for this value. When we talk about project, we look for someone starting from level of managerial level, medium level, senior, until site engineer. Every one of them have different values. Organization looking for this value, to add value, to cover the gap and run. So finally, we will have synchronization between all departments, starting from HR, technical department, financial department, procurement department. Those departments need people to run the department. Here is you. We select you to come to activate here. If you say looking for a project manager, we're looking for someone to synchronize all to integrate and synchronize all the scope. Let's make it in a different way. Organization looking for a project manager for a project. You have the resources, you have the material, you have the manpower, but still you are the master. You are the person going to make the products. So company or organization giving you the raw material, and you have to get the output, which is project to be completed using the knowledge which you're gaining through your PMP or risk management or program management. Because and actually from my experience, the knowledge in PMP especially and RMP, it is expertise, got their approach and their experience in our hand to use it. Why you have to spend another 50 years, 100 years doing try and do mistake? But if you got this certificate and you got knowledge from the professional people, you will save your time and saving the cost as well. Because I saw in my eyes people making a mistake. If they got the knowledge, they will not do it. And if you talk about a project management, for example, go deeply, and if you are managing a project and you are doing overtime and make expenses, you could save it if you know that overtime is against your cash flow, against your scope. So value organization looking for you to add value to cover a gap in the organization. So finally, beneficial between you and the organization. So your value came from what you are going to implement, what you are going to give to the organization.
Fantastic. Thank you. I can see the passion you have in this. When you're answering the question, you're very passionate about the talk. Thank you. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure people are getting some value out of this. Okay, what are the best practices for managing project contingencies?
Actually, it is a very critical part because when you talk about risk and manage contingencies, it is I can say it is, you know, it's different layers. Some part in the level of managerial and some part to the top management. Okay, so when you make your plan, it could consider some part in the level of project manager. He have some part to control it, and if it's out of his hand, it's go for management. So they will take the part from the manager for contingency in the part of higher management. You should have a plan. You should have a scenario. If this risk happen, what input or what value you have to take to cover this risk. So it's a technique. It is a value. It is a approach or a value can cover your risk in certain level. So it depends on the planning and the data you get it and the analysis and the risk assessment, and accordingly you will have your the value you will use it. Depend on the if scenario happen one, you have to take this risk. So it is a value important to utilize it when the risk escalate than the level which in the project managerial level. And Dharam, you can add more also.
Yeah. So one of the important thing for a project program portfolio manager is to understand the risk. And when we talk about risk, we do talk about how do we mitigate, or what do we do with this risk. Some risk we just accept it because we can't do much about it, you know, and the impact is low. It's okay, fine, we just accept it. Some risk we avoid, you know, the mitigations, and some we mitigate, you know, we come up with a mitigation plan, or we may transfer the risk. I'm talking positive and negative risk, and we do have a positive risk which we can talk again. Let's talk about negative risk. Now, to deal with any of this scenario, there's a cost involved. Even if I'm accepting the risk, you know, there may be some minor impact to the cost or time. Where this cost, who will pay for this? This is coming from the contingency. So contingency reserve is established at the time of budget allocation. And this is based on number of risk and type of risk we have. Okay, so contingency is to deal with that particular known risk. And remember, contingency reserve is for the known risk. Okay, if you don't know the risk, we cannot estimate. That's where the management reserve come in picture. Okay, so the contingency reserve is for the known risk. When you look at the list of all the risk, and you come up with the response plan, and you come up with the cost associated, time associated with that mitigating the risk. And another thing is you cannot just add all this, the cost of mitigating all the risk. No, there has to be some kind of a algorithm which help you. Okay, there are 100 risks. Total, if I add, this is budget is, let's say, $1 million, and to mitigate is another $1 million. Nobody will pay you $1 million to mitigate your risk. There has to be, let's say, 20% of that or 10% of that. So that contingency is sitting there for you to be utilized when the risk happens. And it's not free available money. If the risk happen, you need to reach out, go through the change control process and demonstrate why the contingency reserve should be allocated to the program or project. And you follow the change control process so that we have a good control on the available funds and available contingency. All right. So I hope this makes sense. And yes, there are best practices and how you want to manage your contingency. Of course, you follow the change control process and keep your stakeholder informed. Yes, there's a risk happen, and we need to use the contingency. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And all right, my next question. What are the most effective ways to manage stakeholder expectation when adjusting your time plan?
The best way to adjust the stakeholder expectation, it is by communication and by interface with them directly. So it's a meeting, you have to do several meetings, you have to sit with him face to face. You have to know how he's thinking about your project, what is his concern, what is their power against your project, what is their area of interest, if he is financial background, if it's engineering background, if it's authority, they have their own regulations. So it's important to have a meeting face to face. It cannot go by email or letter. The communication here has to be through a meeting, through a face-to-face communication. So prepare your agenda, prepare your question for each stakeholder. You have to go to understand their interest and their authority or power in you, which is going to affect your project. Maybe he don't have power in your project, but he is interested. So very important to understand each stakeholder, what is his interest, what is the power he have in your project, and you have to make like a matrix. You have to say, you have to divide them by if it's authority, if it is engineering, if it's financial, if it's internal stakeholder, external stakeholder, you have positive impact or you have negative impact. You have to make a register. We call it stakeholder register or stakeholder matrix. It's very important to know each stakeholder, what is the way to communicate with him the data, how it could be communicated, so monthly, weekly, how the data will be sent to him through email, through a portal, who is the stakeholder as a name, okay, and what is his power, and if he's positive or negative. Very important to make risk analysis, and very important stakeholder analysis. You have to make clear analysis one by one. You have whatever effort and input you will do in this stakeholder analysis, make your project easily to complete it. You don't have any surprise. He will support your project if it's positive, and if it's negative, you know what is concern, how to control his concern. So the best way is through communication and meeting with the stakeholder and prepare stakeholder metrics, and you have to monitor and control it in daily or weekly basis.
Good, very nice. Thank you for putting together, especially emphasizing the importance of risk, stakeholder register and stakeholder analysis and stakeholder engagement plan. Very important for you to understand who these stakeholders are and what is the impact and what is the power and influence level they have. Because you want to prioritize your communication based on the power, interest, and basically what the decision they will make and how they will make. When you talk about changing the schedule or dates or time, you need to work with them, and you can't just change. It's best is to have a change request, invite your change, your stakeholders, let them know that this is adjustment we have to make because of this reason, because of change of strategy or change of because we are delayed. So everybody has their input into this and get their comfort level. And they may say no, it's too much, too late. Then you have to demonstrate what are you going to do to bring the time back on schedule. Maybe you can or you cannot. If you can't, then let them know. Being upfront is very important. Hey, we will try our best to bring the time, some date, try to cover the dates, but there are some limitations as well. And if you talk about the construction project, you're building a house, building a bridge, yes, the weather can be one condition, but weather can impact your timeline. And everybody should understand, hey, the delay happened because of this risk or this issue happened. And the project manager, as a project manager, you can talk about what happened, what you're going to do, and what is the adjustment required, and get their buy-in into this whole process. Let me take contingency reserve and management reserve are different in IT and construction projects. How do we make this equal?
Either it's IT or construction, I don't feel it's a big differences between both. Whatever sector, as we say, 3 certificate or 3 for whatever knowledge from PMI, it's applicable for each business. So as a management level have their power to use their reserve, and downside contingency is in the level of the project management or risk manager. So it is a staff level, and managerial is different. Here, when budget allocated for management reserve, it is not for you as a project manager. It is for the CEO. It's for the GM. So the concept the same. The application is different. That's it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's actually right. Whether you are talking IT, construction, oil and gas, or government, anything. The concept of risk management is same. yes, application can be different, as you rightly said. But let's first differentiate between contingency reserve and management reserve. As you rightly said, contingency reserve is for the known risk and management reserve for unknown risk. So unknown risk, something which we cannot identify at the moment, and if that happens, how do we cover ourselves? Something happened which, let's say if you go back 3 years when COVID hit, and
Yes.
other than few learned people, nobody knew about COVID. So how can you have a risk contingency reserve for that?
You can't identify. Yes.
Yeah. So in this situation, you have to look, and customer can say, look, this is not a known risk. You have to take care of this because this is your most customer understood as well. But he said, okay, you have to take care. Then you look towards the management. Hey guys, can you release some fund from the management reserve? So because this is unknown risk, which we could not have identified, please help in this case. So of course, they will ask you to raise the change request, demonstrate why and why not, and that's why you still use it. Okay. So yeah, in order to say that these both are, whether contingency reserve, management reserve, whether we IT, construction, or any other industry, pretty much same. The concept is still same.
Yeah.
Okay. To be on that.
Exactly.
Okay, we are getting lots of questions. Great, guys. So I will take the next question, 2 questions after a few minutes. Let me take my other question. How can you continuously inspire a project team to learn and improve?
Actually, it is here we go for a chapter important in project management with HR, human resources. So since you are manager, you are working within a team and you have team under you. So you have to understand how to coaching, how to motivate your team, how to inspire them, how to put a single goals and target for all of them. And there is a lot of technique also. If you are in study human resources, there is a reward system could be used. There is a nice wording. You can advise your team. You should have some casual time to sit with your staff. So, but it's very important, since you are working as a manager and working with a team, you have to keep this atmosphere and this lovely atmosphere between all of them. They should like their work, so they can make can create ideas, and they can solve the problem in a peace of mind. So rewarding system, one of the technique we could use it. Appreciation, we can use it. Sending some bonus, it is important also. So reward and managing the staff, it's very important, and understand their capability and how you promote someone, how to motivate them is very important to achieve the target. And the most important, you should have a fair system, so you get your respect and the staff will respect you. And when people feel they are working in a fair organization, and whatever achievements they will do, they will get rewarded, or they will get increment or salary increased. This all makes the staff have loyalty to the organization. So it's very important to manage the resources to get the output and achieve your objectives. So yes, it could be with a lot of technique, as I said. One of them is a reward system, coaching them, guiding them, sending them for training. It's very important also. This is, from my point of view, the way to can encourage the staff to gain and get more output and benefit from them.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So very, very valid points. You have team, and generally these people are going to work for you for many, many years. Let's say the program or project you're working on is multi-year projects, and you have to make sure they are motivated, they really want to work for you, for the organization. So in order to do that, yes, there has to be a bonus plan and rewards recognition plan, and look for what will motivate them. Very important. And everybody has different motivation level. And if you go back to the Maslow theory, with the need hierarchy, there are 5 different levels. And if you have people on the lowest level versus second level, third level, you're going to motivate them differently. So what method, what will work for them, you need to analyze. You need to work with them. Actually, you can create a spreadsheet where you have all the names, and you can put together, hey, if we are going to recognize you and we have a budget of $50, $100, $500, $1,000, what you want to get. Okay, so, and if it is $50, you may say, okay, you know what, I like watching movies, give me a movie ticket, or I like to go and watch a sports. So that person will be very happy when you give them ticket for the favorite sports and a very good seat. He or she will be very excited, rather than you give them the, okay, you have a movie ticket, really, I don't want it, and they throw in the bin. Anyway, so the motivation comes when you reward them as per their needs, as per their expectation. Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. Let me take other question. What is the best way to control the project cost?
It's not an easy question. It's
not.
And it's not a simple answer, but we can do and revise the answer. The best way to control the cost, it depends on the sector, which sector, as we say, it's different from sector to sector. But I can tell you something, it can applicable for all sector. You should identify your budget, number one. To control the cost, before to control the cost, you have to know your budget. Each sector, each project, you are IT, you are construction, you are working in the bank, hospital, education, schools, you have a budget for in-house. If you are wife or husband, you have a budget. First of all, this is your reference. To control something, you should have reference. So here, when we talk about a budget or even the schedule or timing, you should have a reference. A reference here in cost is a budget. What budget you decided? For example, if the husband giving the wife $3,000 per month, which is a small value, she should control the cost in this budget, in this value. So what the wife will do, she will say, I will do grocery in 1,000, I will pay the bill 500. She will start to make their BOQ, or she will make itemized and put budget itemized to each item. In construction or IT, it will call a big BOQ sheet with a budget for each component, each item. For example, we have a project we have to finish in 20 million, including construction, finishing, all the categories. So we have a budget with BOQ item, could be 1,000 items, and each item have value. Here, this is our reference. So whenever we start execution and we start purchasing the item, here when the engineer going to make request, we call it MR request, he will go to the procurement in charge or the cost control in charge. He will see what the budget you are purchased, it is going to exceed the estimated or it is below. If it's exceeding the estimate budget, here it will start the question, justification, why you exceed the budget. So here's a cost control guy. He is in between the execution team and estimation team. Estimation is the one creates the budget. The one's going to make the expenses is the site team or execution team. In between, there's a cost control person. Could be cost control, could be procure, but someone looking for what's the cost control doing. He's looking to your purchase item and compare it with budget item and make his own analysis and justification. Yes, it could be because there's a variation. Yes, it should not be increased. It is against the above the limit, so he will return it back to you. It's rejected. You have to go to alternative item, alternative value to meet the budget. So if in your exercise or your practice in all the item, if you have a 10 or 1,000 item and in all item you not exceeding the budget value, finally your project will success cost-wise. So this is a simple way, but it's not easy. These are a lot of software we are using. There's some Excel sheets. There is a software ERP we are used to control the cost. And there's a department in each company, cost control department. But it's a simple way. You should always keep in your mind you have a budget and you should not exceed the budget. This is a simple way to control the cost.
Let me take my final question, which I have to ask you. What skills do project manager need to develop to become effective active listener?
Communication skills. I always say it, and even the PM book, and I totally agree with the standards that 90% successful of any project manager or any manager in the world depend on communication. How he develop his communication skills, which can be verbal or non-verbal, could be listening, it could be writing. So communication skills is 90% value to success in each project, depend on how you are enhancing your communication skills. You cannot expect any manager don't have a professional communication skills. You should not be a nice talker. You are not going to be a singer. Or we talk here about communication. You have to do follow up. You have to communicate with your team. You have to communicate with supplier. You have to communicate with all stakeholders. Could be good morning. Yeah, it's a simple way. Whenever you meet your manager or your below staff, if you say good morning, they will remember. If you have some concern, he will share it with you. And I advise one subcontractor from my staff, when you go, main contractor asking, where is your staff? I'm not seeing them. So when you go and meet your client and say, good morning, how are you? Do you have any problem? Could I help you? It is very, very important and minimize a lot of problem you can face in your project. So I'm saying the successful tools, which the question said, and additionally, I'm strengthening this one, communication with all tools of communication, verbal, non-verbal, written, by letters, by email, by phone calls, by WhatsApp. Nowadays, there's a lot of tools to do communication, but the communication is a very important if you want to have to success in any managerial position, especially project manager. I think, from my point of view, the most important skills to the project manager is the communication. How he's doing proper communication with his stakeholder, all stakeholders.
Yes, communication, part of the communication, active listening is very, very important. It's not always speaking. You know, I can see you guys are listening very actively because you are asking questions. So this is active listening. So when you are listening or when you are talking to somebody else, you prompt at the right time. You ask the right questions and listen. And when you show the intent that you're really listening, and that's where you build a rapport with the other person. If somebody's saying and you playing with on your WhatsApp, yeah, I know what you're saying. So this is not listening. When somebody's saying eye contact and listen and ask the right question right time, that's simple as that. Okay, what should we do if there is a situation about trade-off between time, speed, and quality?
Actually, it is. I'm from my point of view, it's wrong question. I don't know who asked it, but it's no compromise or no. Imagine you can do a food without quality, no one will eat it. Okay, you spend the money, you make a very delicious food, but it's not quality wise. You will not eat it. You make a very nice building, but it's not meet the standard. No one can occupy the building. It's unsafe. So quality here is not optional. It could be trade off with cost, even or time. And if some client asking me, I need this building to finish, supposed to finish in 3 years, I need to finish in 1 year. I will not accept it. If I'm not professional manager, I will not accept it. It will be harabara and could be collapsed in after months. So as a manager, as a decision maker, you should say yes. You should say no. If your manager asking you to do something, say sorry, it's wrong. We cannot compare, but we can do something. The quality is level of quality. We can do level class A, class B, class C, class C. We learned from China. For example, China, whenever do any product, they make different classes, but all of them meet the minimum required, I can say. So you can do, I can rephrase your question by, I can select the class, less class, or less requirement, which achieving the standard for safe, standard for best practice to use whatever product you are doing. Each product is called a purpose of use. If you achieve the purpose of use as well, this is the minimum standard. I'm doing mobile to answer the call. I make laptop to use it to download the software. So if the item or device or product you are doing ready to use, or they achieve the purpose of use, here you reach the minimum requirement. In that case, you can go for cost will be minimized. No need to, as for example, for car, you have Fiat and you have Rolls-Royce, both of them running in the road. So both of them achieving the purpose of use. So I can use Fiat instead of using Rolls-Royce. Here the question is right. But both of them have the safety required, or both of them achieving the speed, required speed. I don't need Ferrari or Porsche. I don't want to do a race. So it depends on your requirement. You will select the minimum quality, achieving the standard, best practice, the code of the country which you are, it's electrical, mechanical, civil, whatever code, each products have their standard code. If you are achieving the code, here you can minimize the cost. So quality, it's not mean zero quality. You have to achieve certain level of quality by spending some cost. Is the way to achieve the purpose of your product or your project or whatever you are doing. That's it.
Yeah, great. And if somebody insists that, hey, we need to complete within the, let's say you are working for Olympic Games, stadium has to be ready. Qatar was like good example. Recent FIFA, when they were talking, everything was running late. In the end, everything happened. I don't know, magically happened. So, if somebody do ask, or there is some date or time constraint, you need to make sure the person who's asking for, they are aware of the risk as well, and they are ready to accept the risk. Of course, if somebody asks you 3-year project, this bridge to be completed in 1 year, there's a lot of cost cutting and corner cut, they're missing the corners and making errors here. Sometimes it's better to say no instead of accepting it, even though they are ready to accept the risk. Again, the blame can happen differently. So it's better to say no rather than accept it. When you can see that yes, there's a possibility. Yes, there's a possibility we can do it, but there's a risk involved in this, and make sure the person is accepting the risk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. I think we are left with one more question. How will we track the health of portfolio's risk level? Is there any KPIs, metrics available specifically used when we are dealing with portfolio level?
Actually, risk in portfolio, it is higher than different than a project or program. We know that the risk in it's accumulative risk, and it is different perspective. When you look to the program portfolio risk, you're looking for the beneficial or how this output or benefit meet with the organization objective. Here the risk is different. You are not also, but in project risk, you are not meet the deliverable. You are not achieving the deliverable. In program, you are not getting the benefit. But in portfolio, risk here, whatever output you are doing, it could be amazing output, but it's not meet with the organization objective and strategy. Here is you have the high risk. So the risk is deviated from project and program and portfolio. The concept is the same, but the meaning is different. It depends on the application. We talk about portfolio, we go from higher level, we look to the organization objective, how we are close, how we are far. This program or project is achieving the strategic risk, and for sure each portfolio have a threshold. We have to be in this threshold, will not exceed it. So each project and program and operation in the portfolio should synchronize with the portfolio threshold.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And actually, yeah, as we talked about portfolio level risk, is compromise of consists of your project level risk escalated to the portfolio and portfolio level. Portfolio level generally think about a strategic risk. Project level, program level, we talk more as a tactical risk. Portfolio level is strategic risk. How can we achieve this particular strategic objective? Can we miss out? If we don't do this, how are we going to meet? So yes, portfolio level we need to think about, and there are many tools we can use for this purpose. One of the important KPIs you can have is the risk profile. And as part of the PfMP, we do talk about risk profile, and each component being project program have their own risk profile, and sometimes they call RPI, risk profile index. And what is the risk profile index, RPI, for this project, and you may have threshold, and that threshold can be used to let go some project because they are outside of the boundary of the RPI, your acceptable RPI. Okay, I know this is becoming more technical, and if you talk about because this risk profile can be different to different project, and you say, okay, you have two project manager. One is really good project manager. He has done lot of an analysis and come up with 50 risk. Another project manager is new and not having idea, so he probably, because the formality, he got 4 or 5 risks. On paper, you can see the project manager project B is looking good because only 5 risks. Project A is high risk, but in reality, project A is in the good hands. While RPI is high, but this is a good project manager because he has identified all the possible risks, and this project B has identified only few risks. That means there are some other risks which we have not identified in project B. So that's where it's a very technical area. I think if we talk about this, and it will take, this can be another topic. But yeah, so risk portfolio level, risk, RPI, and maybe other KPIs we can use, for that purpose. I hope this makes sense. I know we start going into technical side, but if you do attend or join or talk to me separately, I will be happy to talk more about it. Wow. Okay. Thank you for so many questions, and I was worried I have only 5 questions to ask, but having so many questions from you guys, it makes the discussion more lively and more exciting. And I can see the passion Mohamed has during the answering the question. And if somebody is watching, looking for hiring a person, a really great professional project program portfolio manager, and you've seen how he is answering the interview question. You probably don't have to do any interview now, because all the interview questions already asked, and he has been very good in answering those questions. So thank you, Mohamed. And
thank you, Dharam, and thank you for all the attendance staff, and I hope they get beneficial from our knowledge, and I hope they can practice in their life. It is very valuable. Came from expertise more than 20 years and from all different sectors. So I hope we could answer them in a proper way and they could get some knowledge today. Thank you, Dharam, for your effort also.
Yeah, and yes, and all those questions were very, very valid, and really happy that you asked those questions and active listening. And please feel free to connect with me and Mohamed. Of course, he is also open for connecting on LinkedIn. Happy to connect, and any help we can offer you, whether paid or unpaid or whether mentoring program, doesn't matter. You book my time, and that time, once you book my time, is your time because they're free of charge. But it has to be relevant. You don't come in, hey Dharam, let's talk about going out for drinks or something. No, have an agenda for that and discuss with me. And if you're talking about my training program, happy to talk about how can I help you with RMP, PMP, PgMP, PBA, all this certificate, various things we can talk about. All right, guys, and you have the PDU code. If you have any problem, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank you, all of you, for this, for attending and making this. Actually, this is our first webinar with my student of the 2024. So happy New Year, all of you, and good luck for 2024 and beyond. All right, with this and Mohamed, really helpful discussion, great discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Take care. Thank you.